Okay, so thank you so much for taking time to join me in this FM launch hour. I was just watching the replay of last week's episode, and that was handled by the GMs of Max-Migold, Desire and Newborn, and I hope you had a good time with them. Last week I was away at the National Assembly trying to work on a bill for facility management in Nigeria, which is one of the forward-thinking activities that we're trying to do to put FM on the map, on the occupational map in Nigeria. So it's my pleasure to be back here again. My name is Paul Erugami, and I'll be the one anchoring today's session of the launch hour, the FM launch hour. In previous weeks, we announced that in the month of November and December, we'll be rolling out the Workplace Productivity Series. And in the Workplace Productivity Series, we're going to be covering diverse topics. Last week, you learned about customer service. Today, I'm going to be looking at etiquette. Next week, I'll move on to effective presentation, business writing skills, some of those reports that you need to put together and proposals you need to write, creative problem solving. And then in December, we'll move on to change management, employee motivation, communication strategies, and emotional intelligence. These are topics that are relevant to everybody in the built environment or in any workplace. So when you talk to your friends, your colleagues about the FM launch hour every Thursday by 1 o'clock, let them know that this is not just about facility management. The moment you and your team in whatever department in the organization have the same standard of cooperation, have the same standard of communication, have the same level of awareness of each other's needs and requirements, your productivity will improve across board. The business will benefit from that increased productivity and make more bottom line improvements. So that's why we're doing the Workplace Productivity Series. Facility managers enable the workplace to be productive by providing physical facilities and services to provide these solutions for our users. But we also are leaders in the workplace. We are influencers. We are the thermostat that regulates how the workplace is. And so we have to learn a lot about these soft skills that you won't get in any technical educational system. It's only in facility management you get all of these soft skills bundled in one as part of your profession. And that's why we're inviting you to let others join. Don't be selfish with this knowledge and skills. Get other participants in your organization, from accountants to engineers to people in all walks of life, to be part of this series we're running in November and December. Okay, and we're going to have a special free training session on the 8th and 9th of December, which comes with an assessment and a certificate that will give you a digital certificate and badge. We want you all to prepare for this and also broadcast this as much as possible. For the 8th of December, the first day of this free training, whole day free training, we're going to be focusing more on hands-on teams, cleaners, security, technicians, handymen, receptionists, just name it, fumigation works, all kinds of maintenance teams. We're going to be having that first day. That first day, we're going to be brushing you up on some of the key skills and knowledge you need to do your job better. But we're also going to be giving you a horizon into the possibilities for your career growth into managerial positions in facility management. Facility management is one profession where you don't necessarily need to have a degree before you can rise to a very high extent. All of the things you need will be learn the body of knowledge, learn the skills, practice, and begin to work in the role. And then over time, gain certification. We're going to be talking about all that. So you can carve a path to your career's heights. If you are in any of these field responsibilities and you don't think there's a way out or a way up for you, I'm going to make it very clear that there's a strong opportunity for you to make it to the top of the FM industry and the built environment. Then day 2, on the 9th of December, we're going to be focusing on graduates and professionals in the built environment. Even if you're an estate agent, you're working in the manufacturing plants, you're working in any industry today, you might be experiencing some kind of a rut. You're probably in a position that is not growing, high demand or high supply of people into that particular space is putting pressure on you, and you're not having, occupational or career satisfaction. Come and learn how a switch from what you are doing to facility management can change your career and change your life. Facility management is in very high demand, and so we're making bold to share the opportunities with all graduates and professionals in every walk of life. In our current FM Diploma program, we have people from accounting, people from law. In fact, all the classes we've had people from accounting, law, property, estates, people from administration, all kinds of administration, from finance, people from production in factories. All of them are coming on board now because they see the opportunities. They see the way someone who's moved into facility management within a short while rises to the top, mostly driven by demand for the skills of facility management. Okay, so come and see how you can have a major lift in your career if you're a graduate. No matter how many years you worked in whatever industry you're currently working, the opportunities to rise to the top is pretty much waiting, beckoning on you in facility management, and we'll give you that exposition on the 9th of December. So book a date. In a nutshell, anyone who wants to attend the training will book for just one of the days, either the 8th or the 9th, depending on who you are. And you would, indicate, because we're going to have a physical class here at Unilag Training Center. The expectation is that we'll be able to admit the first 100 people into the physical class session. So if you really want to be able to get into the physical class, since we're starting at 9 o'clock, the earlier you come in to secure your spots on that day, after registering online, the better for you. Everyone else will be on the online session to enjoy the class. So you're either on the 8th or on the 9th, and there'll be certificates waiting for you at the other end. Once you are done with this program, there'll be an online course you go through. You go through the online course, you do the assessment, just a few questions you have there, you pass it, and you'll be able to download and print out your free facility management certificates. So, make that a date and look forward to it. But in the meantime, make sure you get yourself on the guest list for that, candidate list for that training program. Then on the 8th of January, we start effectively on the 20th batch of the FMMC. We've come a long way from batch 1 to now batch 20. And we have used this particular FM diploma to train the next crop of FM leaders and pioneers in the FM industry in Nigeria. We are looking at, with FMMC 19, we are looking at almost 1,000 who have gone through the FM diploma, with about 90 to 93% success rates in terms of getting a new job if you're looking for work, getting promoted within the first year of taking the program, and these have been outstanding. So come forward and attend our graduation coming up on December 16th at the Faculty of Social Science Hall in Unilag, and also hear the testimonials of these fantastic professionals who have done excellently well in their profession by being part of the FM Mastercraft Diploma. All right, so that being said, I'm going to go into today's lesson. Today we're looking at workplace etiquettes. Workplace etiquettes. Success in any industry relies on relationships. Relationship with your coworkers, relationship with clients, relationship with suppliers or investors. When you are well-mannered and considerate in dealing with others, you create engaging, productive, and long-term business relationships. Edmund Burke says, manners are more important than laws. Manners are what vex or soothe, corrupt or purify, exalt or debase, barbarize or refine us. In essence, we all need to learn the principles of etiquette. If we don't know how to conduct ourselves and relate with others, we will only have ourselves to blame, even though in most cases, people who are not well-mannered, they find reasons to blame everyone else for their bad manners, okay? So here we're going to look at how we will be able to practice etiquette in our workplace, in our professions, in our businesses across different situations, okay? If you look back at all the things you have done, interactions you've had with organizations, with individuals, did you show good manner? Did you show professional courtesy, right? What would you say you can do differently if you think back at how those interactions went? Because if you think about it, you realize that there have been certain triggers that led to other reactions, and then a spiral of reactions that could have been, different if you had not reacted in a particular way at some point in that chain, or not triggered a certain action that would have led to reaction from the other party as part of that chain. So what is etiquette really? If you compare it to this common word, good manners, you can just say etiquette is good manners. But in a short definition, it is how we relate with one another. How we relate with one another. Sometimes people say, "Oh, that's how I am. People just have to accept me the way I am." Well, that would be a selfish, way to talk and think, because the next person is also unique. So that person is also the way he or she is, right? And if the way you are and the way the next person is leads to conflict and leads to opposition and leads to issues between us, then both of us have to find a way to understand what the other person is like and adjust how we are so that we can improve our relationship, and as such improve our productivity and the business bottom line that we support. Okay. So there are rules of courtesy and hospitality. There are rules of communication, just simple ways to interact with one another, social interactions, conventional rules of polite behavior, right? So how do you present yourself? How polite are you when you encounter other people? Those are the kind of things we're talking about when we're looking at etiquette. And so it doesn't come out as rules that are set in stone. There are things that we just learn and begin to imbibe as part of our way of doing things. So our culture will have certain etiquettes that we'll learn from it. Our environment will have certain etiquette we'll learn from it. And then the particular profession and the industry we serve or participate in has certain norms that we abide by. But then if you bring in your own individual behaviors and manners into all of these circles, you now need to moderate them so that you'll be perceived the best way possible, for you to have the best outcome or results that you expect. Why should we have, a good, etiquette? Why should we behave well? Why should we have good manners? Everything we do will reflect on our company and our products. That's just the truth. If you act professionally, we send a message that our business is credible and trustworthy. Personalized care may very well be your edge against the competition. So, in essence, you are portraying your organization as a positive brand because of the way you carry yourself, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you are courteous to people, the way you communicate generally. Those are key reasons why you must have proper etiquette, good branding. And then customer care. You show customers that their business is valuable to you. There are many organizations where maybe because they think they already have the customers by the balls, or they think they have a sort of a monopoly, they tend to treat their customers shabbily. Sometimes it's not the idea of the owner of the business or those who are at the top, but there are certain employees at middle and shop floor level who really don't care about the customer. They want to do their hours and get out of the way. If you, as a small business owner or even the manager in the corporation, cannot reflect on your employees or subordinates the value of the customer and have the employee or subordinates translate this into the way they behave towards the customer, you may not be able to inspire customer loyalty and positive feedback. And again, with good etiquette, good manners, you can help improve the morale and confidence between employees and team members. It's very important that employees who work together have love for one another, have a commitment to a common goal, have a commitment to help each other make sure the chain is unbroken in the service delivery network that we have created. And that brings about synergy, right? There will be a smooth working relationship. There will be no dropping of the ball because no one will allow the next person to drop the ball. We'll all care so much about the customer and care so much about ourselves and our organization to the extent where we will hold each other's hands to ensure that we achieve a lot more than we could have done individually. That's where synergy comes in. And one of the ways we can exhibit, good etiquette is networking. You've only got one chance to make a good first impression, an anonymous quote. When you're networking, it's important to make the most of the first meeting. Yeah, so we'll discuss how to create an effective introduction, make a good impression, minimize nervousness, use business cards effectively, and remember names. Some of the things we're going to be talking through in this. When you meet people, when you are in an occasion, a function, even when you are in your normal workplace and a new person comes on, or a new staff or a visitor, just when you meet someone, project warmth and confidence. Okay, it's very important because the moment you encounter someone, that person encounters you, and you do a mutual sizing up of each other. That's what happens, right? So from your body language to the way you introduce yourself, being able to stand up straight, not being too edgy or nervous, and establish eye contact. These are ways to project warmth and confidence. You must be seen to be, competent by the way you project yourself. You must be seen to be, someone that is approachable, someone that is friendly. Because what that does is certain walls break down immediately once you're able to project warmth and confidence. And then there's this common etiquette flaw that people do all the time. Oh, my name is Jessica. Oh, my name is Paul. Oh, my name is James. My name is Namdi. You're just saying nothing. In fact, you're exposing how ignorant you are and how unenlightened you are. How does one name, a single name, represent you? Don't do it again. It's very unprofessional to state just one name, no matter where the situation is. Some people are calling on the phone for the first time, and you hear them, oh, my name is Emeka. Oh, my name is Paul. Oh, my name is James, and the rest. I mean, for goodness sake, give your full name, 2 names. Nobody's going to use your name to do anything to you. And sometimes it's almost very awkward when I now have to ask, what's your other name or surname? Because I can't save your name in my phone as James because I have like 200 James in my phone. So I can't save your name. So next time you call me and say, who is this? You say, oh, that man is so arrogant, he's so rude. He couldn't even remember me. But you just told me then when we talked, your name was Jessica. How can I know you are the Jessica that I talked to? Because there's so many Jessicas that will be in my phone. Unless you expect me to be able to memorize your voice, what we talked about, memorize the digits of the numbers of your phone number that you called with or something. Please always state your name and your surname or your last name, okay? When the other person has given you their name, repeat it in acknowledgement. This is very important. This is something we don't often do again, right? Somebody says, oh, my name is Paul Eruba, I'm president of the Association of Facility Management Practitioners Nigeria. When you take the hand to greet, you repeat, in a very calm, silent way. Oh, Paul Eruba, it's a pleasure to meet you, right? My name is, so you make sure you have taken that name, you repeated it, and then you now introduce your name. And then when I hear that again, in that handshake position, I'll repeat your name again and say, oh, Jessica Nnamdi, it's a pleasure too. That way, we have given both names. We have acknowledged that we have learned what we just did of each other. Your first impression will depend on how confident, competent, and credible you look, right? Being able to, hold your head high and steady, not slumping or slouching. Some people don't realize how physical, appearance plays a role in people's judgment about you, right? So we often live in a world of everything around us is almost like a game of chance, right? The person I talked to about a business prospect, is he going to call me back? That's a chance, right? Is he going to go for another, person to talk with and move on with his business? Is he going to feel that I'm his best option? If I want to make that introduction and I'm not slumping or slouching, there's a chance the person will take me as, okay, this person looks confident. Okay, and then on the side of confidence, know your craft. It's important that we continually study and learn the things that we work with. Many of us are in jobs where we don't keep learning. We just know the routines that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, and we shut down for the day, and we don't learn anything about, the jargons, the lingo, the new events, the trends, what is happening in the industry. You don't. And as such, you are not able to speak to current events in your industry. That will make you a complete wet blanket when it comes to a meeting, right? So people are talking about things and then you make a point. Your point is either old school, irrelevant, or completely ignorant, right? Or you just keep quiet because you could not even talk because you're not sure of what you're going to say. No. Okay, so keep learning. Don't ever stop learning. There's no job that you are doing today that you already know everything about. There's none. Okay, you can only get better if you keep learning. And that's why in today's age of technology and all the tools we have in the internet today, there's no reason for you to be the same way you have been from year to year. And then the final, making the great first impression, credibility. One way to show credibility is being punctual. Just show up on time. Don't make it look as if people have to wait for you, or you always have a reason to be late. And then look well groomed. Okay. How you dress, they say, you are dressed the way you dress, right? But don't be too casual about your appearance. I'm not talking about buying designers or anything expensive. Just a simple washing and ironing of anything you have to wear, and if it is torn, don't put it on. If it's torn, make sure you stitch it back and wash it and iron it. Once you are doing that, you are perceived as someone that is credible. And again, the aspect of making promises that you don't hope to keep, or making promises that you're already planning the excuse that you're going to use to wave it to one direction. It's as bad as anything that can damage your reputation. So let's not even go there. If you're going to make a promise that you know you will keep. If you can't make a promise that you will keep, say no. Be bold enough to say no. Okay? No, it's important. Just say no, I can't do this. And if you aren't able to make a decision at that point, there's no harm in saying, okay, let me think about it. I'll get back to you at such time. But never ever say I will when you've not convinced yourself that no matter what, you definitely will. Okay. So, nervousness is one thing that is very normal in meetings. Today I was in the IFMA advocacy session. I had to leave a bit early because of you and this commitment I have with you to engage you in this FM lunch hour. And I met, very prominent people, and there's usually that. And then I was called to give a goodwill remark on behalf of the Association of Facility Management Practitioners. There will be that initial nervousness, but if you have loaded your mind up with relevant, things that you can easily talk about, you have to reason and then bring some of the things you have learned over the years and you have practiced to the forefront of your mind in such environment. You have some nuggets you will be able to give out. That reduces nervousness. Okay, and then rehearse in your mind a certain number of points that you will talk on. So when I go up, I'm going to, observe the protocols. I'm going to acknowledge the dignitaries. I'm going to, appreciate the organizers. I'm going to talk about topic 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to thank them again, in summary, and then I'll exit. And all I have is just 5 minutes, right? So being able to have that mindset to consciously rehearse before your call to the stage is very important. And then try to have certain relaxation techniques. For me, it's just breathing. Sometimes you may not realize how important it is to breathe. So we all think that we breathe all the time, right? But when you consciously breathe, when you actually tell yourself to breathe and you count the breathing, deep breaths in and out, your body relaxes. You're taking a lot of oxygen that helps you to, show some level of confidence again. For those who can talk to themselves, role play with yourself, for those who can do meditations, other mindful activities to help you relax. Yes, they're very helpful as well. And then, recognize when you're nervous, recognize the triggers, the kind of things that probably will lead to nervousness. If you don't recognize it, you won't be able to work on it, right? And then have a belief in yourself. If you don't have belief in yourself, you will definitely be nervous, and your nervousness will not lead to any good. Okay. In public functions, it's very important in no matter what the role we have. Let's have some form of business cards. People say, "Oh, I don't have a business card because I didn't have a printed one." You could also have a digital business card. It's designed on simple graphic. What's a business card really? It's your name, your title of the work you do. If there's an organization that's registered that you're affiliated with, it's there, a phone number or an email, right? So you can actually exchange business cards with people, and it goes. I mean, the digital business card now is even better because it goes right into your contacts. If you have those apps that puts them right to your contact list, so you can always call that person anytime you need to have that interaction. And when they give you the card as well, in case of a physical card, read it. Take a look at it. I met one of the presidents of one of the Built Environmental Association. We had a discussion, and I gave him just my company business card. I didn't have one for the association, but he was able to pull out 2 business cards, one for the association he represents and one for his business, which was fantastic and something I learned. I was coming back and telling myself, I'll have to go and get a business card produced for my position or my role in the association. Every organization should have, this level of, for those especially who have to go out in sales, procurement, operations, whatever role you have that make you to meet with people, because you're not going to be exchanging business cards with those in your organization. You're going to be with those out there. I have a problem with this particular etiquette principle, remembering names. Sometimes I have to go back and look at the card again, even though I repeated the name before because I forgot it by the time I left, right? Sometimes I'll have to call and in the midst of a discussion, just ask names for one reason or the other. It's a torture. It's really a difficult flaw. It's important that we learn to remember names. It's a very good etiquette. It's a very good manner to have, okay? And just like we can have all of the manners, all of the good behaviors together, there are some that are really, really important because it helps to create affinity. It helps to create connection. You hear somebody's name, repeat it. Just saying it, especially when African names, like our names in Nigeria, where you may not come from the same tribe and you may have different kind of accents to the way you speak English. So a name that you hear from somebody might be difficult for you to pronounce it with that same accent the person used, right? So repeat it as much as possible the way the person said it. So if I say my name is Erubami, you don't just repeat back and say Erubami. No, that's not what I said. I said Erubami. You see, there's a difference between Erubami and Erubami, right? So if you are able to just practice that repeat with that slant, you will get a lot of mileage because it shows the other person that you're concerned about respecting him, recognizing his identity, right? One way to also remember names is to use mental images. Think in pictures. Therefore, we associate an image with a name. So if somebody gives you a name, you find an image that you can relate it with, right? You find an image of someone who does something or something that you can relate it with. This is something that I haven't practiced a lot, so I can't give you too much examples about it, but I've read about how, to try to use mental image. Maybe because I've not practiced it is why I still have a challenge myself with remembering names. And then as soon as you can, write the name down. It's very important, write the name down. If you actually write someone's name in a jotter or a notebook or something, it helps to drive it into your mind as well. And then use their names in creative sentences, which means you use person's name like in the way of speaking, talk with that name in a discussion, and then be genuinely interested. This is very important. Learning names. If you're not interested in somebody, you probably won't pay attention to any of these name remembering at all. So try and take away biases and stereotypes that make you not show interest in people. This can be a challenge sometimes for those of us, as you rise in your positions, you're now beginning to have a lot more power. Your interest in that individual become subject to the level of humility that you have naturally, or that you can train yourself to mentally bring yourself to that humble mode, so you can show genuine interest in people. We talked about the greetings. Some cultures, it's just okay to stretch your hand out and greet, but it's important that we understand that not every culture would accommodate you just raising your hand out to greet. From northern Nigeria to southern Nigeria, there are different cultures around handshake. I got a shock myself too when I came in from the south to Lagos, and I learned you don't raise your hand to shake hands with elderly, you don't raise your hand to shake hands with women, and so on and so forth. You just have to learn it. You don't just say because you've been to America or UK, you just come back with a new culture and start trying to do that. You give a wrong impression about yourself. You give that impression that you don't respect the people that you're interacting with, and that can be a big problem. Okay. All right. So, you meet somebody for the first time, you have small talk, how's the weather, how's the traffic, and so on. And then you begin to talk more about yourself. I work here, I do this, I do that. I live in so and so town. Fact disclosure is happening at that point. Viewpoints and opinions, the discussion gets to the point where different topics drops in and you're able to express, what your opinion is. And then you get to the point where you now are able to share personal feelings about issues, about what's going on, about news, and so on and so forth. Those are the 4 levels of conversation. You grow through them. It's not something that happens overnight. I'm not going to talk about the dining thing because there's quite a lot to learn about dining etiquette. Sometimes you have to, meet with people over food and drinks, and there's so much, how to organize your table, how to handle your napkins, how to eat, how to talk in that dining situation, and so how to deal with sticky situations like when the food spills, when your napkin drops, when your cutlery drops. There's so much in that area, and this particular area has a lot of content already presented by different trainers, speakers, and books that we can all refer to. It's really important that we learn how to relate in those kind of dining environments. So let's look at business email etiquette. Email is a convenient and effective medium to conduct business communication. Let's discuss etiquettes, guidelines on how to address an email message, the use of grammar and acronyms, and the letter, body, and top 5 technology tips. When to use the tool, the CC, and the BCC fields. If you are writing an email, what is the tool, the person you are addressing the information to? The CC, which is the carbon copy, is to those who you want to see what you are sending. They are not the ones that are being addressed, but they're being copied directly and openly. So everyone sees each other. And then you have the blind carbon copy. The blind carbon copy, which is when you want, more people to see the emails, but not to see themselves, right? So what you do with blind carbon copy is usually for settings when you're sending messages to externals, for example, guest list, candidate list, and so on and so forth. It's not something you should be doing within your organization. You're trying to send information to Mr. A and copy Mr. B and C, but you now blind copy Mr. D so that Mr. B, C, and A don't know that Mr. D received it. That is actually not a good practice. So learn how to use the tool CC and BCC. And then, of course, we need to write well. Many emails that we send sound like the way we talk. And that's something that we need to correct. It's important that we write proper grammar. Sometimes we say things in shortcuts or other terminologies that is not proper for emails. I know with chats, with WhatsApp these days, with Twitter, we do all kinds of shortcuts and acronyms. But when writing emails, it's best to be clear. We don't have a word count or character count in emails. Let's make it clear and straight to the point. Not too wordy, but straight to the point. Okay. When you use your email, email is just a medium. You send it through. You send a message, right? But some messages are better done face to face, right? So instead of dropping it in there, especially for sensitive, emotional, high pitch, high tension kind of conversation. Talk about it. Before you click send, always reread. I'll always say it's not enough to just reread. Allow it to cool, especially when there are some personal opinions or some strong opinions or emotions expressed in the message, right? And then think security. Don't assume that the emails you're sending are always private and confidential. No. Sometimes somebody that gets an email forwards it before you even blink, right? And it goes all out there. So think about the security of the information you are sharing. And then the convenience of the person receiving the message, right? Because, we read most of our messages and emails on screen, right? So how much attention span do you think people you are sending emails to have to read through a lengthy introduction before you get into the main context of what you are writing? It could just be unnecessary length. I will just skip and move on, and that message is lost. If it's not necessary to write an email, don't write it. There's no need. Don't push it. Same thing with telephone etiquette. When you make phone calls to people, you try to convey your thoughts, your emotions through that, faceless channel. Okay, so what you eventually arrive at, what eventually gets to that person might be something very different from what you conceived or thought you were doing at the time you were sending the information or the message. Okay. Develop an appropriate greeting style. Identify yourself and the company. Inquire how you might be of assistance. Speak clearly and distinctly. Sometimes you are, going for job contract prospecting. Sometimes you are the procurement guy trying to talk to people out there who are trying to buy, sell their services to you. In either case, have a way of greeting that shows, that gives the right information and also shows respect. And for those who have a voicemail, it's also important to configure it. I have not quite used the voicemail, so but I know most of our phones have that feature, and our telecom providers can support, configuring your voicemail and getting responses. Cell phones. Don't take calls in the middle of a business meeting. Not how important that call is. Just miss the call. It's not very easy to miss calls. Some of us think the world is going to end if we miss a very important call. But the truth is, virtually all calls can be returned. Okay, let's talk intimate settings. A good rule to keep is the 10-feet rule, which is ensure that you don't answer calls close to people, right? Because you're not just disturbing them, their thoughts, whatever they are trying to do. You're also exposing yourself and the information that is going on with the phone that you're listening to. Then you have the written letter. Even in written communication, appropriate tone, content, and format must be observed. Let's discuss how to write, a simple thank you note, for example, a formal letter. So it comes in different settings. There are times when you have to represent your organization, sometimes on your behalf, on your own behalf, you need to write to someone, to an organization, thanking them for one thing or the other, someone who was able to, attend your occasion, who was able to give a speech for you, who was able to, handle an interview that you participated in, and so on and so forth. And then we write, formal letters. Formal letters that go on our letterheaded, that go on standard forms. They also should have the proper grammar. They also should present, because these are writings that when they go out, it's not just the signer, not the person who signed it, but the logo on that document everything, is describing that organization and that person. Okay. And then for informal letters, these are shorter and more straightforward. Grammar is more flexible and relaxed tone. These are not really, bound by strong rules. How do you dress? Your appearance is your visual resume. Then a significant part of practicing etiquette is proper self-presentation. The way you look talks to people, not just how you want to project yourself, but also the courtesy you have for the people in your company. Okay. There's been a lot of psychological work around what colors to wear when you want to project certain image or certain persona of yourself, right? I'm sure the ladies will find this very interesting. Red, as indicating dominance and power. Orange, warmth and enthusiasm. Yellow, optimism and confidence. Green, vitality and harmony. And blue, serenity and peace. I'm not one for colors. I look at my wardrobe. I pick something that I feel in the mood for. Maybe it's just an instinctive compliance to these psychologically derived meaning of colors. But I just feel in the mood for a certain color, and that's what I go for. So without any particular interpretation for those colors. But if you learn the colors and you feel you want to impress using those colors, or you want to create certain impacts in your interaction, then all well and good. But please apply them. And then you have the dress code. So when they say something is formal, semi-formal, dressy, casual, what do they mean, right? So let's start with the casual. Casual for men could just be trousers, and t-shirts, or anything that looks sporty. For ladies, skirts, dresses can also fit in there. Anything that goes is a casual. The dressy casual is the one that has a little bit of formality, like the trousers. So if I'm using a jeans trousers, all forms of ruggedness go with that. That's purely casual. T-shirts, sports coats and the rest. But if I'm going to be semi-formal, I'm looking at more of something between formal and dressy casual. When I'm semi-formal, for example, I can just not have a tie on. And sometimes I may not have the same 2-piece or 3-piece suit on. It could just be a different blazer on another trouser. Those are all semi-formal. The formal will have to be a complete suit, 2 3-piece suits with tie, shirt to match, and everything going together. And if you're on the native attires, everything from the trousers, the top, and the caps will make that complete formal look. Deciding what to wear, inquire with the host beforehand, get the sense of the dress code, know the context of the meeting and venue. When in doubt, err on the side of conservative, right? So it's better you are a little bit overdressed than a little bit underdressed. Better to be overdressed, right, than underdressed. It's very important. And then think about, etiquette as it affects, different cultures and countries, especially if you travel, for work or travel for anything. Don't just ignore this etiquette, how it should appear and be perceived. So take time to, research cross-cultural etiquette, be observant. If an error occurs, apologize immediately and ask how you can make up for it when you're with your guests. Be aware of different greetings. Some cultures are less time conscious. Stick to formal titles. Understand differences in perception of personal space. This is, some cultures, they hug. Some cultures, you just bring your hugging in. There's a problem, right? So you have to be conscious of those when dealing with international engagements. And then, how do you prepare yourself? How do you learn? Keep an open mind, read up everything that there is to read, and find someone who knows to interact with. So in conclusion, in theory, there's no difference between theory and practice. In practice, there is. What's Yogi Berra saying here? We can tell you all of these, codes, rules, nice guidelines to behaviors and manners, but you need to have your own approach to them, right? You need to have your own approach. You can take them as principles, like guiding principles, and then you develop a conscious persona, a conscious personality on how you want to be perceived. Plans are nothing. Planning is everything. That's Dwight Eisenhower. Basically saying it's important to spend time planning. The time you spend planning helps you inculcate and imbibe all the things you are planning and talking about to yourself. John Sark said, the reward of work well done is the opportunity to do more, right? So you grow. As you grow, you are commended, you are promoted, and you're given opportunities to do more work. That's how you progress and make the greatest impact in your career and your life. So that's our lesson on etiquette. I announced what the topics will be for next week and all the way to December. And I hope you've taken notes of those. So if you have questions, will be the time to consider them. Whatever platform you're in, if you have a question, just drop it on this chat. Let me see. And if you are not yet on the Max-Migold training WhatsApp group, the link has been dropped. Please join the WhatsApp group. It's a community of 500-600 people who are exchanging ideas on a daily basis, sharing opportunities in the FM space and growing in that platform. So join there. All our news, all our announcements, freebies, opportunities, we'll be dropping it there for you as a way to get a quick access. On Facebook, like us, subscribe to Max-Migold on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. It's very important that you stay connected because it's a good place to be. You learn every day when you're connected to Max-Migold. So that will be it. So if you are able to join the WhatsApp group, find your questions in any of the platforms, the team gets it to me. I'll definitely be happy to answer it in the WhatsApp group and keep the conversation going there. So in the meantime, thank you for being here. I look forward to see you again next Thursday, 1 p.m. for the FM Lunch Hour. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, Mr. Matthew. Well, whatever questions you have, you can drop it on the chat, and Mr. Paul will respond as soon as possible. And also, we'll drop the link to the WhatsApp group on the chat as well. So you can always join us on our WhatsApp chats and ask your question. Yeah.